All right. Well, this is Dave Shipper. I'm Dave Shipper, and I'm talking tonight with Sam Robbins. He's from Nashville. He's one of our six songwriting contest finalists that we announced it over the weekend, and we're looking forward to it. It was wonderful. The Say Amen was a wonderful song, Sam. Why don't you
Thank you. I appreciate it.
why don't you tell us a few things about yourself?
Okay. So I am Sam. I'm from New Hampshire originally, and I live in Nashville now. I am 6 foot 1 3/4. I am, musically, I'm a big like James Taylor sort of Gordon Lightfoot fan. Also a huge David Wilcox fan, if you know him. But um,
Our fest once.
what?
He played our fest once. So yeah, we had.
Really?
Yeah, I love the guy too.
Yeah, he's like I like love David Wilcox. I definitely have ripped off a few of his songs, but yeah, I love that sort of like old style sound, that like old soul singer-songwriter vibe kind of,
Well,
and yeah, I just
you're a young guy. How did that interest percolate up so much? Just your parents, or
I don't know. I mean, I grew up in a very like unmusical family actually, which is sort of interesting. And I remember my dad has this little camp up northern New Hampshire, and we used to go there and they would just put on 70s radio, and it was a lot. And he had a little box set of like 70s singer-songwriters. That's what it was called. So it was a lot of I just realized my shirt's open, giving everyone a show. But yeah, like there's a lot of like Jim Croce, that whole thing, you know what I mean? And it was the whole box set. And we used to listen to that all. It was just that there was no electricity, you know what I mean? So it was a battery powered radio that we would just listen to on repeat, Bad Leroy Brown, and If You Could Read My Mind, and all those songs.
well, if you ever do get to lacrosse, that would be my record collection, my vinyl collection. You can kind of
Oh, awesome.
yeah. All right, let's jump into our Great River Folk Singer Factoid survey. In the style of Stephen Colbert's questionnaire, we thought we'd do something
Yes.
really quick and kind of precise. So, have you been to lacrosse before?
I have not.
Okay. Have you ever been to the Rhine River in Germany?
No.
Well, supposedly the Mississippi River Valley, without castles, looks pretty much the same thing around here. It's a beautiful part of the
Really?
Mississippi. Have you ever heard of the giant six pack?
No. So
Yeah.
far I'm doing badly on this
Well,
on the
have you ever heard of Dave's Guitar Shop?
That sounds vaguely familiar actually,
Yeah.
but
Okay. You might find that it's headquartered in La Crosse, but it's a global guitar shop. And if you ever get here, you're going to have to go on the second floor. Dave's got a wall of fame, a hall of fame. He's got
oh wow.
600, 500 guitars up there. Google him once. He is one of the
Yeah, I'm
lacrosse's.
gonna put that in my phone.
All right, let's do your legend quiz. Maybe now listening to what your influences are, I bet you I know who you're going to pick.
All
Uh,
right, let's see.
Bob Dylan or John Prine?
Bob Dylan,
Joni Mitchell or Carole King?
Joni Mitchell.
Robert Cray or B.B. King?
I guess BB King, although I'm not super familiar. I mean, I know BB King more because he's more famous, I think, but I would have to, as a cop out answer, a little bit, I'd say BB King.
All right. Brandy Carlisle or Gillian Welch?
Um, uh,
You're
I'll
not
say
gonna,
Brandy Carlisle.
you're not going to offend either. That's a tough choice.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say Brandy Carlisle. I actually saw Gillian Welch and Dave Rawlings when I was like in my early teens because my hometown does a music fest, and I had no idea who they were. And I showed up and I was like, my God, this guy's like the most amazing guitar player I've ever seen. I was like 14. It was crazy. It was crazy.
He is,
Um,
he
yeah.
is so fun to listen to, and the way they blend their music. Okay.
Mhm.
You write morning, midday, evening, or when the muse knocks?
It's changing a lot now because I would say at night generally. I mean, I used to write like between like 12 and 3 in the morning as like my biggest thing, but it's
Yeah.
like that's not really sustainable for like life, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to write more like in the middle of the day,
Yep.
but I find it's harder. But yeah,
Yeah. Do you write with prompts or no prompts?
generally no prompts, although I've been kind of trying to look into that a little more, but generally no.
Okay. Paper, computer, something else?
Computer, Word documents, forever. That's always been the way.
Well, you're younger generation. I would have,
Yeah.
even though I just talked to Randy Lewis Brown and he's phone, yeah, completely,
Really?
yeah, and he says,
And his music is like, sorry, what?
and he's got a library of, he says millions, but it must be thousands of voice memos that he's taken that he goes back to reference.
Huh. And his music is so like raw and like earthy. That's funny. It's all on his phone. That's funny.
I guess he was a computer nerd or was in the business.
Oh.
All right. So you're going to frame a lyrics of yours. Which one?
Uh, that's a good question. Framing lyrics of mine. I think no man grows up to be his father if his father raises him right.
Wow. You released that one someplace?
Yeah, it's I just put out an album like 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it's on that. It's a song about my dad and sort of all the stuff that goes with that. Yeah.
I have that album. I don't remember a song titled that long.
Oh, it's a title. Oh my God, I thought you said
Oh, yeah, the song itself. Which song would you
Oh, I thought you said a lyric. Oh my God. Okay.
I
Um,
you took it a different route, which I think
yeah,
that's even cooler, to actually have what the phrase within that, the phrase.
yeah.
Okay. So which song would you frame?
I think I would frame this song Bigger Than In Between. And it's unreleased. But I wrote it at the beginning of am I allowed to give these explanations or is it
Yeah, yeah,
okay?
maybe Colbert would have his limits where you'd want them.
Yeah,
But I got.
yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, I wrote it right in April of last year. Remember when like the streets were empty and it was just like, what the hell? And I don't know, looking back, it's like a really interesting sort of like moment for me. Like it's all, I don't know.
We
You'll hear it someday.
lived through it, so
Yeah,
can't blame you. What color of frame would you put that in?
light blue.
Light blue. And where would you hang it?
Where would I hang it? I would hang it above the piano. Oh, my roommate's getting home right now. That's fine. Sorry. I would hang it above the piano next to the guitar in this room over there.
Okay. Um, who would you think as your best writing coach? Who would you want to thank?
I've had two big ones. Um, I would say, let me just ask if it's all right. Is it all right if I use this room just for a minute? Okay, cool. Thanks. Sorry. I Paula Cole was a big person. I had a few classes with her at Berkeley, and she really pushed me to like open up in different ways. And many of the songs on my album that you got are from her sort of teaching. So I would say, I don't know, that was a crazy experience, her class. So I would say her, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. 7 words you would tell your 10-year-old self.
7 words I would tell my 10 self. Um, uh, don't worry, just do it, idiot. I don't know.
Good. Yeah, I can tell you that I would tend to say the same thing to 10-year-old self. But 10,
Yeah.
when you're 10, when I was 10, I had my head full of baseball cards, and life has changed.
Yeah.
Thank you again for reaching out and getting into the contest.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
I've heard there was a little bit of a play through the Kerrville New Folk that you might have heard about us through there, but that's cool. We love that festival. There, I've never gotten down to it yet, but our people like John Smith, who lives 8 miles from my house,
Oh, really?
I think he was a judge in your New Folk.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Along with Shanna in the dress, and Shanna is going to be at our festival this year because she won our contest last year. So,
Cool.
The connections are wonderful. So, you have any questions for me?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's 6 more finalists next week, right?
6 more finalists at the end of the month.
At the end of the month.
We're going to give people another 4 weeks, and I'll be able to shout out these interviews and other things to give you a little bit more play. And I wish people would buy music more often. I don't know what you have and what your marketing plans are, but I'm old school. That's why I own at least the digital copy of yours. When I run into good music, I want to buy it and I want to have it in my collection. So.
Yeah, I appreciated that. Also, you just messaged me and you just did it. I was like, oh my God, he just did it. He just bought it. That was very sweet.
Yeah, some people say, why'd you buy that? I could have sent you that CD. I'm thinking, no, isn't that kind of go against making?
Yeah.
So enjoying yourself down in Nashville, I suppose there's people everywhere, musicians everywhere in Nashville to compete against or to learn from, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, I like it down here for some reasons, and for some reasons don't like it. The general like musical vibe sometimes is a little weird for me, but like there are so many great players and so many great like producers and people around, like it's in the air kind of. But sometimes the musical vibe, like I don't really do like pop country, and sometimes it seems like that, like writing wise, sort of like dominates a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
that is their thing. But I do know a lot of Americana, bluegrass, kind of folks, blues people who live down there. Lindsay Lou, Miss Tess. I'm trying to just list off the people who've played my house concert. So it's a beautiful part. But then again, Emily Earle would. She lives down there, and she kind of says what it's like, and sometimes it's harsh business. Yeah. So well, I wish you luck. Shannon Address is moving down there, I think.
Oh, really?
And I think somewhere along the line, most musicians should spend some time in Nashville or Austin or some of the big cities and get a feel for it. So.
Yeah, it's definitely there's just something like in the air, you know what I mean? Like there is something that sort of elevates. I personally, I feel sort of elevated, you know what I mean?
Well,
that's what I was just talking to Shanna last night.
Yeah, the difference between New Hampshire and Nashville is night and day, I would assume.
Yes, very different vibe. Very different musically. Yeah, it's different.
Well, I wish you luck. I wish you luck in the contest. If you win, you have to we'll book you and get you over to La Crosse in 20.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and what we're going to be doing in the next 4 weeks is promoting you guys, who are the first 6 finalists, and then when we get 12 finalists, we'll get a panel of 8 judges, and they'll go through 2 songs of each artist. So,
cool.
We pick the first one, you'll pick the next one, and then they'll go through it. They got a grade sheet of 8 different things that they'll look at. And last year it worked out pretty well. It's with 8 different judges. I think the 3 people who ended up in the top 3 were on like 80% of their ballots.
Wow.
Top 4. So it's with a diversity, it helps to make, just one person doesn't have the same opinion. And I really do think it's tough to judge these things.
Yeah.
Last year, we said we were going to pick 12. It came down to the end. We couldn't make a decision. We picked 14. We just added.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's weird.
it's
With
tough.
this kind of music, it's not about how high you sing. It's not about, you know what I mean? It's
And sometimes it's a story song. Your song
mm,
the right kind of story and right kind of theme that just felt cool. You know, and some
mm,
I listen to a funny song. I'm thinking they could get extra points if they make me laugh. And
yeah.
writing funny is not easy. So,
Yeah, no, it's not.
all
It's
right.
not
Well,
easy.
talking to you, Sam. Um,
Yes, thank you.
any questions? You know how to get a hold of me, and we'll be.
Yes.
I'm going to hit the end recording so you can listen to